mystery, death, joy, love, power, revenge, undeath. This is the Necromancer's Tale. Yo, Wax here. Today I have the pleasure of presenting what I believe to be an instant classic in the CRPG genre, but even more precisely, a delve to occult themes likened to only games like Eternal Darkness. As the game opens, we are met with a prologue in the shape of pages in a book being narrated. Choices like the circumstances of your birth and your upbringing are sprinkled throughout, each one favoring a stat increase. What I found interesting is the level of detail these early choices consisted of. It was like the game's way of telling you, hey, your choices will matter. Be careful. I see my final stat line accumulated from my personality test, and like a good RPer, I changed nothing. I find myself in a carriage headed back home for my father's funeral when it was attacked, and this is our first instance of combat. At its core, it's a simple turn-based combat with an action point economy. It's very functional, and its later stages lets you achieve the ultimate necro power fantasy. But more on that later. So we beat the thugs, save the lady, and head into our home, the Von Elstrick estate. Its inhabitants, Albrecht, the family butler, and my seemingly sick mother. This serves as the main hub in many ways throughout the game. It's at this point that we discover our father's funeral it was already done, but something isn't sitting right with the circumstances of his death, nor the hastiness of his funeral. So we begin investigating and head into town. Here we meet up with our two childhood friends, Diedrich and Sophia, at the tavern to catch up and get a little buzz. At this point, the game is doing a great job of getting me invested into these characters, and even though it's a text-heavy game, its chat boxes, rolling text, and presentation makes it all the better to achieve that. So to get rid of the buzz, we head home for bed. Here we have dreams of our father. When we awake, we meet Albrecht in our father's office, and he presents the spell book, so we can make the potion that our father would make for our mother to help her with her sickness. Now, this moment was a huge one for me, because as I open the spellbook, its inspirations of natural magic become evident. If you don't know what natural magic is, here's a quick wiki definition. So, we now have our spellbook, but we can't read it. So we head out to the local church to see if they have any way of translating. They do, but access is restricted. So we offer our aid to the father to gain favor. He accepts and gives us an errand. Upon completion, I am awarded access, but this is also where I first took notice of the trust system. There are multiple factions here in Marnes, like outsiders, educated, workers, gentries, etc. And how you interact with people of these factions affects an overall trust score, which will determine dialogue options and general reaction. On top of that, in some cases, like an individual trust score is also present in NPCs like Diedrich or Sophia. We translate the book, and it gives us a list of what we need to make the torpor spell. Not sure where to get the ingredients, we ask Albrecht, and he gives us a few ideas. I really like when a game trusts a person's ability for problem solving, and this game does just that. For example, for torpor, we need nightshade, and when we check with the apothecary, we find its possible location, but she also dropped a little passing line that we'll need gloves to handle the nightshade or else we'll be hurt. This succeeds as a way of the game letting you know it will give you everything you need, but it's up to you to find it. And as the game progresses, this becomes even more evident. Now we have all the ingredients and are introduced to the game's crafting system. While a straightforward, simple design, I found it to be unique and satisfying. It's complex in a way that feels organic or real, as in it requires you to actually read from the occult spellbook, giving you the method clear as day and putting the burden of figuring it out on the player. Also, once crafted, it doesn't require you to recraft anytime you use that same spell again, which is fantastic. So our investigation continues on, and I'll save you the details so not to spoil it, but know it's intriguing and well written, and there wasn't ever a moment that I felt I didn't want to learn the truth and progress the story. I did some exploration of Marnes and its surrounding forest, and at this point combat was done mainly with the pistol and sword. I found a cave riddled with goblins that I clearly wasn't prepared for, but using the tried and true method of the door strap, I funneled enemies one at a time and I disposed of them. This method will always be goated. The next pivotal moment for me was at the end of chapter 4, where our house was ransacked and I, using a spell from the book, made a trap for the criminal, but instead caught my dear childhood friend Diedrich.
Upon this, chapter 4 ended and 5 began. And that's when I noticed the shift in our character's mind. Almost like a slow descent into mania with whispers throughout the house, or as my notes put it, I am allergic to God now, not being able to enter the church anymore. This is a theme that the Necromancer's Tale does amazingly. Through my entire 32-hour playthrough, the pacing was perfect. As our Von Elstrick power grows and his humanity wanes, not only his appearance changes, but the manner of which he writes and thinks changes as well. Amazing stuff. Really. I hate to bring this up again, but this is one of the things that Eternal Darkness is most notable for. And as a man who missed out on that game and have only been able to experience it through retrospectives or YouTube videos, Necromancer's Tale fills that gap and then some. Let's jump forward to what we were all waiting for once we read this game's title. Our first necromancy ritual. Again, the game has a way to really immerse you in its magic, and its relatively simple design has an impactful result. Preparing the ritual with black candles and carving symbols in the earth, carrying the skeleton over in your actual hands, speaking the words, and watching our new minion stand felt so damn satisfying in a way I find difficult to describe. As we progress chapters, I should talk about skill points and skill challenges. Your skill points rarely change from the character creation, and for each chapter I was allotted 4 skill points for certain skill challenges in dialogue. These points reset every chapter, but use them wisely because I had moments where I exhausted all of them and was left with the less than optimal choice of great importance, further emphasizing the game's effort of giving the player's choices weight and meaning. We learn more magic and simultaneously strip more of our humanity. I find this steady growth in game loop to be fantastic as we continuously uncover more and more answers about my father, his work, and his untimely death. With our magic, combat has changed a bit, and now we have MP. MP works differently than most games, where every round of combat, the winds of magic dictate your MP pool. For instance, I had a base of 4 MP, and the winds of magic were blowing strong, giving me a +5 to total MP, leaving me with a total of 9 for that round. Many games, I think, struggle to allow the player to become powerful in fear of becoming bored. The Necromancer Tale has no fear. They let you feel like a dominating force. And by the end of the game, I felt like a truly unbeatable lich with an army of dead behind me. It's pretty uncommon for a game to let you do this nowadays, and I really find it refreshing. Alongside the main quest, I discovered many side quests or characters like the Body Snatcher, who helped make a Frankenstein essentially, to Annie, who ended up becoming one of our love interests, and also to complete Ride or Die, even when she learned the truth about your boy. The writing was so damn good, and the choices I made from previous chapters reverberated throughout the game like the butterfly effect. It really leaves me wondering, what did I miss? And how things would be different if I did this or that. I finished the game twice, technically. For the last major battle, there was a chance to talk and try to reduce the amount of enemies I would face, and I had been stockpiling zombies throughout the whole game at this point, and had about 28 at my disposal and said, fuck it, let's try it now. And then I ended up succeeding, but went back and approached it how I probably would have done it anyway. And I spoke with everyone remaining, like Diedrich and Annie, and it really blows my mind how different the set of interactions at the end changed the ending that I got, furthering my curiosity about all the other options I missed throughout this game. And with this, completed my strategy playthrough. No achievement for it, but we know we did it. I love this game. It never slowed down for me, and its VA work and writing was superb. I will recommend this game to everyone and anyone for as long as I play games. Well done, Psychic Software, and thank you for this experience. Well, that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for stopping by and checking this video out. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and if you've played Necromancer's Tale, tell me about your experience, and if you plan on playing it, let me know about that too. I'll take it all. But thanks again for watching. Wax off.